Hey everyone, welcome back. New day, new direction. Well, not new direction, but getting started on the cab work on the 59 here. Got a couple things to show you. Just decided to do a little project. I'm making a little filler for the gas filler hole in the back left-hand corner of the cab. And I was figuring out some of the measurements and templates and such for splitting the cab here and moving the back by 5 inches. So I'll just show you what I've got done here. So I took a piece of 18 gauge steel, and it's not real big, but it's a pretty complicated little piece. It's got shape this way. So I took a little square and ran it through the English wheel to get the shape I wanted. I got everything cleaned up. I got to get it positioned just right here so it's flush with the... That wasn't supposed to happen. Throw it on the floor, pick up a whole bunch of metal filings on the magnet. Makes things work so much better. Okay, so I got to get that piece all positioned in there, and then I can weld it in. And then on the roof, I have been trying to figure out my plan for cutting, and the cut on the cab is going to follow this edge. So the 5-inch filler piece that I put in is going to go straight back 5 inches, and then it'll join this piece back on. So I've got to put all of these contours in the body in, all the way down, and I think there's 2 at the bottom, one here, a body line there, another ridge there, and then you've got this diamond shape at the top here. So I'm going to do it in 2 pieces because of the complexity of the shape and this angle on it. And then the roof, I'm going to do, I'll come over to the other side here and I'll just show you the plan. See if I can get up here. This is going to be where I'm cutting it. I looked at it pretty close, and it's about the best place to do it. I'm kind of right on the center of the height. I'm going to cut from the bottom of the drip edge. I'm going up 2 inches. My filler piece will go across, and this will be my straight line cut back 5 inches to come down to lengthen it there. So what I did, I took a piece of Bud Light cardboard CAD. I marked the center line. This is going to be where my cut is, and I transferred an exact radius onto the cardboard for the roof. This sits there on the center line, absolutely perfect. So the way I'm going to go about this is before, see if I can climb up here. Get up a little higher. Okay, so this is my center mark where my cut line is going to be. I am going to take and cut a 5-inch strip of 18 gauge, and I'm going to put the shape in it, and the bends down on the side, I want to have it so that it fits the roof perfectly before I make the cut. Once I have that piece so that it sits on the lid here really nice, I will set it in place, hold it in place, maybe even use a couple of screws, and then I'm going to use that to mark my cut line. That way everything should fit perfectly. Everything looks in good shape here. I've got no rust or anything. So that's kind of the plan. The roof will be the first cut. Down here. Okay. The roof will be the first cut. The bottom of the cab will be the second cut. And then I'll do the cut down the edges here. Now what I did to figure out the length and distance of my piece, I took a double layer of masking tape and I ran it down the side here, all the way down, followed the curve, and at each one of these intersections, I put a mark on it. So that gives me what they call a storyboard. I can measure that and get the exact distance between all of these body line breaks for my replacement pieces. The other thing, if you guys don't have one, go to your wife's sewing box and steal one of these sewing tape measures. They're about 72 inches long or 65 inches long, and they're indispensable because you can use them for measuring curves. I laid that across the roof, got my exact measurement for 56 inches. If she asks where it goes, tell her you have no idea. What would you need something for sewing for in the shop? So anyhow, guys, I'm going to get my piece on the other side all positioned here and tack weld it in. I've got the piece all tacked in. I'm just going to weld it in, and then I can get it all ground up here, get that all blended, so no more hole. Okay, here we are back again. Christmas is over. Another year just about done. We got 4 or 5 days here left, so I got the patch in. I got it sanded with 80 grit, and I put some primer on it. The primer matches the OE primer pretty good if it was dulled down a little bit with some Scotch-Brite. And I'll just show you what I'm working on now. Let me get up on top of the frame here, and I'll just show you what's happening. See how this is going to work? See if I can get you off the tripod. Okay, so what I'm working on is the filler piece for across the top of the cab for stretching it 5 inches. What I did was I took and I cut a 5-inch strip as accurately as I could, used the straight edge and the zip disc, and I started putting the shape in it that it needs to match the roof. I want this to fit absolutely perfect before I do my cut, and then my cut will be along the front edge here. The back edge is true to the front edge, so everything should work out. So I've got the curves on the outside almost perfect on both sides. What's left to do now is put the shape in it this way. That's going to lock the curve right to left in, so I've got to be really careful. I've got to use my radius templates that I cut out and go from there. So I'll just show you how I got to this point, and then we'll start on putting the shape in it here. Okay, so here's the strip that I cut. I've got marks marked on it for different areas, what's going on. This is my side-to-side radius guide that I use from this line over. I've got it so that it, guess I should turn you so you can see what I'm doing. I use this here to judge my distance here. And what I've had to do is use 2 different radius wheels on my English wheel to get this exactly where it is, because there's way less radius here than before it gets to the outside edge. So now that I have this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the lowest radius I have, because there's very little shape this way in the piece, and I'm going to use very light pressure and just run it from side to side. It's probably only going to take 2 or 3, maybe 4 passes back and forth to get the shape in it I want here. So over on the English wheel, what I used to put the curve in side to side was I put the rubber band on top, and what that does is it only puts in shape, not form. What that means is it's only curving the panel one way instead of two ways. So I'll just loosen this off, take the rubber band off, which is actually just a piece of rubber tire tube, the right diameter to fit my wheel. I've got to change the lower die to lower radius. This is the radius I need for putting the shape in it. So, okay, I'll bring you back here. Okay, so we're set up with the low radius die. I've got extremely light pressure on it. It's really easy to overdo it. I'm just running it back and forth really lightly, because if I put too much crown in this, I'm screwed. I'll be starting over again. So you're way better to sneak up on it. Try and keep nice straight passes. Gotta watch the fingers. Just take it out of here, and I'll go over and check with my guide, see how I'm doing. I got my curve here, which is very, very little, and I don't know if you guys can see it. I still have to come up a little bit in the center there. So I'm just going to keep really slowly sneaking up on this and see how it... Okay, I think I've got her here now. I think the easiest way to show you this would be hopefully like this. That's taken I've got about a 1/16 of an inch of curve in it, which is about what I need. I guess it's crown, not curve. So I'm just going to test fit it up on top and see how it looks. Okay guys, so we've got, I got the shape, the form into this piece. It's sitting on here really nice. It takes a really light touch to bring it down where it's supposed to be. Now you got to remember that there's only one cut going here, and that's going to be right here, and then this whole back section of the cab is going to move back to line up here. So it's the front edge that I'm really worried about, because the back end is the same and it looks really good. I got just a little bit up here, but it pushes down with, I don't know, a couple of ounces of force. So next thing I'm going to do is take the headliner out. I've got to scribe a line here where I'm going to cut it, sand the top down, get it ready for welding and such, and then we can start cutting this cab apart. Okay, we're getting ready, a lot closer to being able to start cutting this cab, so we can split it and lengthen it here. What I've got done underneath, I'll just show you. So I took the cab mounts out, and I made sure that the cab never dropped at all, and what I needed was a piece of 1-inch square tubing on top of the frame to support the front part of the cab. I did that on both sides, and then behind the cab I put another piece of 1 inch on each side that I tack welded to the frame so it can't move. And what that'll allow is when I make the cut, which is going to be just up ahead here a few inches, this will just slide back 5 inches on the 1 inch tube on both sides, keeping everything at the exact height it's supposed to be. So next thing I'm going to do is cut the floor Then I'm going to cut the roof, and then I'll work on cutting the sides. So that's where we're at now. Okay, we're back once again. I've got some diagonal braces welded in from the bottom of the floor here to the top of the doorpost, just to stop anything from dropping. I welded a brace from the inside piece on the back down to the edge of the floor. I have it cut free all the way across and down through the inner structure. One thing I wasn't counting on is how flimsy the back of this cab is. You can see how it moves there, which I found kind of disheartening, but that's okay. I got my window taped off so I can't screw it up. Next thing I'm going to do is mark the top of the cab and do my cut across the top. I'll come down to here, and then I'll come back to here. Actually, I'll come back to where my cut is going to come up here, and then I can cut the inside structure, and then I will finish my cut down the side here, follow this straight edge all the way down. And that should release the cab back from the front part, ready to put my 5 inches in. That's the plan anyhow. Okay guys, there's no going back now. I've got it cut up to there, all the way across the top. Just going to continue the lines on the inside here. So far so good. A lot of this stuff seems to be under a lot of stress, so it could be real fun trying to put it all back together. So I got this side cut down to the first body line. From here it's going to get really tough finish cutting that. Next thing I'm going to do is my inside cuts down that line there, and I'm going to do the joining line up top there on the inner structure. Okay guys, it's a mega cab now. I think I got room for my seats. Okay, she's all dissected. I got lots of cleanup to do. Get rid of all the burrs and everything in the steel. Treat some rust with some rust killer, and maybe clean out a little bit more mouse doo-doo and crap like that. So anyhow, we'll carry on. Tomorrow hopefully it'll be going back together. Okay, so we're back again, another new day. Just working on getting everything cleaned up and ready to fit. What I've done is I built an extension for the this is the cab mount, and I had to cut the brace that went front to back, and I made an extension for it. The top piece is at a 14 gauge, the bottom is 18. It's a slip fit. This will slip into the lower one, and it gives me a little bit of adjustability. I've got all of the edges cleaned up, all of the sharp pieces that were hanging off from cutting it. I used a file as opposed to a grinding disc. I don't want to thin this metal any more than it is, because it's fairly thin. And then where the roof is going to get joined back together, I used 80 grit on the DA, and I cleaned all of the primer off of that so that I have a nice clean area for welding. I put rust converter in all of the areas that are going to get concealed. That's dried up really nice now. I'm going to wipe everything down with water, let it dry, and then I can put some primer in there. I've got the replacement piece put in up top here, just kind of the first trial fit. I'm going to try and get it centered up the best I can. Use my cardboard jig with the radius on it. Get it set up. It's got my radius on the bottom there. Once I have that and I've got everything pretty much where I want it, I'm going to tack weld the front. Then I'm going to stand the back of the cab up and I'm going to tie it in to the front piece, and then I can start tacking it all together. The bottom piece, once I have the distance I need, I'll tack those in. Then the bottom can't move, and I can build the 5-inch extension that's going to go right here. When I opened this up here, I opened up a whole bunch more mouse nest stuff, and man, the stink in this shop is brutal right now. I think I'm going to have to go steal the Febreze from my wife in the house. So anyhow, guys, once I get going on setup and everything here, I'll bring you back and we'll start getting everything tack welded back together. My goal today is to have the back of the cab stood up and tack welded in. Give me a better idea what this is going to look like. Well, I've got it sitting there. The 5-inch worked out really well. I now have to try and get everything completely lined up perfect and start tack welding. And doing it one person is not easy, but we'll get her done. I kind of like it. I can hardly wait to get some filler in there and see how it looks. Maybe stick a door on. So, okay, I'm going to keep fiddling around, see if I can get this to line up a little better, and start tacking. Okay, guys, that took about 2.5 hours. Get this all clamped in place with the proper gap. I'll just climb up top here. It took me another hour I had to make some more panel clamps. The 7 I had wasn't enough, so I'm now ready to start tack welding. I'm going to start in the center, work my way out both sides on both seams. That way any excess material will get pushed out to the outside. It's lined up within, I would say, 1/16 of an inch. So I think that's better than anything they did from the factory. So I'm going to call that good. And that's about it, I guess, for now. Tomorrow morning I'll come back and start welding, and I can show you the progress there. One thing I forgot to mention, and if anybody else is going to try this, I should have built a brace from the floor to the roof before I cut it, just so that the front section of the roof didn't drop. That's why I have these 2 extendable poles in there now, pushing it up till I got the proper contour with my my beer case CAD there. So, okay, guys, we've been at this for about 3.5 hours this morning. I've got half of the roof lined up and tack welded together. Just climb up top. I got really good crown. There's no oil canning yet. So what I had to do here was I have those adjustable paint poles. I was using them to keep pressure up on the inside, to keep the nice curve based on my template that I drew out. As you can see on this side, it's kind of got a bit of a droop. I have to set the poles up in there to keep this side up, and then I'm going to continue fitting and tack welding this side. Once I get that done, then I can slowly get this welded 1/8 of an inch at a time and start working on the sides as this is cooling. So, okay, guys, I'm going to carry on here. Once I get it all tack welded in, I'll bring you back. Okay guys, it's all tack welded in. I think it turned out pretty good. I won't know until it's finished welding and I get it ground and planished a bit. I don't see any problems yet, but it's still pretty early in the stage here. So on the inside, got a nice seam all the way across. Transition seems to be pretty good down the side here, but let me get you in the tripod here. Of all the sheet metal work I've done the last 7 or 8 years, I think this is probably the most stressful and the hardest piece I've done. Trying to get that thin, and that roof is really thin material. I think it's thinner than the box side. Trying to get it so it doesn't wave all over the place as being a real son of a bitch. So anyhow, we got to that far. Now it's just a matter of a whole bunch of 1/8 inch tacks all the way across. While those are cooling, I'm going to work on the side fill pieces from the top down. So anyhow guys, I think we'll call this a video. It's probably getting fairly long, and we'll start another one here once I get started on these side fill pieces. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. We're just about to 500 subs, something I never thought we'd get to. So once again guys, thanks a bunch.